This is an outrage. 3 years ago, I was elected by the people of the Ninth Judicial Circuit to lead this circuit. And yes, to do things unconventionally, to do things differently. But I didn't hide. I didn't say that I would do things and I didn't do them. I didn't say I wouldn't do things and not did them. I did exactly what I said I would do, and that is what you want from an elected official.
Actually, you didn't do what you said that you were supposed to do. I mean, you were the prosecutor. Welcome back to the program. Dana Lash here with you, bottom of this first hour. So that's, oh man, it's erupted into a full-on war. I will totally take this battle, thank you, because it's insane that anyone, I mean, you've got everybody from, oh my gosh, I was tweeting about some of this last night because it just enraged me. This is that prosecutor, Monique Worrell, who has been positioning herself as some kind of hero because DeSantis fired her. She's the Orlando area state attorney, and this is the second time he's removed a bad prosecutor. And when I say bad prosecutor, I read her hits yesterday. To give you the highlights, she's let literal child molesters go free to reoffend. Yeah, that means they molested more kids. She's allowed murderers to walk by either reducing or dropping charges entirely. And I find it weird that, when people sit here and they talk about quote unquote gun violence, and she's one of them, why are you allowing violent offenders who literally killed someone? You're reducing charges down to what? Either manslaughter or if they're in a drug crime or something and they've killed someone, they don't even pursue one of the charges and they let them walk. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is an actual thing. Detonville was one of the guys that was arrested in March 23 he raped a child. I'll just put it bluntly. He raped a child. And he was out on probation for another offense. But yet and it was a felony offense, and he shouldn't have actually been out on probation. And he cut off his ankle monitor. And so police showed up to serve a warrant on him, and he shot two of them. And that was on August 8th, 2 days ago. And then you had Lorenzo Larry, 17 years old, shot and killed his pregnant girlfriend. He had been arrested in May of 2022 because he was illegally carrying a concealed firearm, 17 years old, so he's a prohibited possessor. He brought it on school property, and he wasn't charged for any of that, so he walked and was able to shoot and kill his girlfriend. He was released after all of those arrests. And in fact, he wasn't charged with anything until after he killed his girlfriend. The other previous felony charges. I mean, then there was the guy that she allowed to, this guy, Jasir Dobson. Go read about him. Jasir Dopson. 2018, he invaded a home in Florida, Orange County. He held a gun to the homeowners' heads, assaulted them, beat them, all this stuff. He was charged with multiple counts of armed burglary with a fire, tons of stuff, false imprisonment. That's a 10-year mandatory minimum. Max is life in prison. And so she declined. Worrell, in 2021, when she assumed office, she refused to prosecute 5 of the charges. And she had adjudication withheld on the remaining, meaning they just didn't do anything. So this guy's walking free and he can still go and buy a gun and carry it. He's not a prohibited possessor because she didn't pursue the charges. Isn't that something? This is who this prosecutor is. I mean, she has dropped murder charges, premeditated murder charges, grand theft, assault, rape, molestation. In fall of last year, there was a teenager, an older teenager, who was captured on film shooting and killing another person, first-degree murder. You know what her office did? They petitioned and reduced the charge from murder to illegal firearm possession. And that was it. He was captured shooting and killing somebody on tape. This is what she does. This is what she does. Child pornographers. There was, she reduced, let's see, there was a guy, Randall Fredericks. Look this guy up. Randall. Randall Fredericks. He was arrested in 2020. He had tons of disgusting, horrific child pornography. Now, in August of last year, he was charged with he had 45 counts. But by spring of this year, her office reduced it all to just 10. Now, every count should carry minimum mandatory 15 years. His sentence was reduced to just 130 months. I mean, this isn't hard to find. I mean, yesterday on air, I Googled her name and just like criticism of the cases. This is the stuff that comes up. And there are a lot of Democrats that actually criticize her. But what she's doing, you know what she's doing? She is making herself out to be like this hero. Audio soundbite 17. Listen to her defend herself. She thinks she's done nothing wrong, letting all these child predators and that out. Listen to this.
It's also important to note, today is the day before school. My children have to deal with this news the day before school starts.
Then you shouldn't have been a crap mother.
That is evil.
And a bad prosecutor.
It is evil. There is no justice in what's being done.
There's no justice in what you do.
Even for the people who are celebrating the fact that I'm removed.
Yes, because you're horrible.
If there is any humanity in you at all, you should know that this is bigger than just me. Mm-hmm. There is a family who is being harmed today because of political attacks. Mm-hmm. This is a political
and she's trying to make
job.
it today a race issue too. What is that out of the? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I haven't even been reading you everything. What of the criticisms? Does it sound like any of the criticisms that I just made about these cases? What does race have to do with any of those? I mean, for real. What does race have to do with any of that? The shameful thing is that she drags her kids into it. Oh, it's the first day of school. You know what? What about the first day of school for the kids that some of the guys that you let walk molested and raped? Spare a thought for them. Don't use your kids as a shield. Don't engage in terrorist behavior. Don't do that. I mean, I said yesterday she was a disgusting excuse for a public official. She's protected child molesters, murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gangbangers by dropping charges, reducing charges, and allowing these violent offenders to walk the streets freely. She says, oh, it's a loss of democracy. Yeah, what you do is a loss of democracy because you deny justice to victims. That's the true horror in this. She denies outright justice to her victims. And then she says that it was all manufactured. Listen to this, audio soundbite 16. She's like, oh, this was all manufactured.
Let's talk about why cases get dismissed, right? Mm-hmm. We are making sure that when cases are brought, that they are brought within the context of the law. So I'm not going to feed into those political narratives because we know that the governor has been searching for
prosecutors have criticized her for this because it's political. We're not morons. Don't sit here and take us for being stupid. Don't sit here and act like we're dumb somehow. Because we all understand how this works. She reduced these, I mean, a lot of times it's that restorative justice narrative. And keep in mind too, and I know sometimes I think people hear it so often, it doesn't take effect. When you talk about someone being quote unquote Soros funded, and this is not a fake thing. You can go to Open Secrets and you can see this. There are a number of different groups to which his political, fundraising arm, which is the Tides Foundation, donates to. And she gets a lot of donations from groups, particularly one that that promotes restorative justice. Now, this is the rotten theory that has infected our justice system. This is why you see a rise in recidivism. It's why you see a rise in crime, because they believe in reducing penalties because they think that is what's going to help criminals reform. But it doesn't. It actually leads to more criminal behavior and more victims. And of course, you're not going to be getting big donations because they donate quite big. I mean, you got a lot of billionaires on the left. This is the difference between the left and the right. The right doesn't do this. The right does not, as all the only people who ever did this were the Koch brothers. And even they were kind of judicious in how they allocated cash. You don't have these big billionaires on the right that funnel all this money into these different pet projects the way you do the left. There is nobody who is the equivalent of Soros on the right. And then it's not just him. There are other people who may not be as rich as he is, but they're rich and they do the same. And they believe in things like restorative justice. And so they funnel big ticket donations into the campaigns of these prosecutors. They know where it counts, and that's how they direct their money. That's why you have such a well-financed machine on the left. I've talked about this for a good 15 years.